Hello and welcome. My name is Rashim Mogha and I'm your host for this Empowered Women of the World podcast. My dear eWOW family, how are you doing? We're navigating the uncharted waters of living and working during this pandemic. We're learning how to make the most of the situation. But today's podcast is straight from the heart. I wanted to check in with you and share with you how the pandemic is affecting me. I know our eWOW audience is based in over 35 countries and you might be in different parts of the world where the pandemic would be affecting differently. But in California, we have been shelter in place since March 16th and we are directed to observe social distancing. So non-essential businesses are closed and almost everyone is working from home. I know some of the eWOW family members who are based in Europe and who are based in Japan and other countries like India are also practicing social distancing. Now, between taking care of the kids at home and in-laws in another city, we have challenges similar to what most people have. Just like others, we have been through days of toilet paper and food rationing. There have been numerous anxious moments. Each time my husband gets grocery and then goes to take care of his aging parents, I worry that he might put them at risk. I have been working remotely for over 12 years now. VMware, Amazon Web Services, Oracle, and now Automation Anywhere. I have managed global teams from my home office. And I have effectively done that. I love working from my home office and don't think I can ever go back to a full-time in-office kind of job. Working from home allows me to connect with my global team at a time that's optimal for most of my team, and I don't have to spend hours commuting. I'm actually more productive when I work from home. But in the last 12 years that I've worked from home, I've had my space and my schedule. With this shelter in place, things have changed. Now with my kids and husband at home, there's practically no space. Everybody is in a room on a different call. My kids are now studying through distance learning because they can't go to school, so their teachers have actually started virtual training sessions for them, learning sessions for them. My husband is working from home and is on calls, and so am I. And now that since all my co-workers are working from home too, basically there's no schedule. We are constantly on calls. So for the first 2 weeks of shelter in place, I was almost working round the clock with little sleep. I was overwhelmed with work and was tired from not having slept properly for a few weeks. And then last week it started getting to me. I felt sick. I felt so sick that I couldn't get out of the bed. Now this is unusual for me. My body ached and my head hurt. I felt feverish. And I somehow worked till Thursday and decided to take a day off on Friday to recoup over the weekend. Now, I would be lying if I said that the thought of me having COVID-19 didn't cross my mind at that time. I got super nervous when I read that fatigue is one of the less common symptoms of COVID-19. I was concerned that I would give COVID-19 to my husband and my kids and then to my husband's parents. And that made me very, very anxious. I actually self-quarantined myself for 3 days, monitored my temperature and did my breathing exercises. And today, I've spent almost 2 weeks working from my bed. I'm still very tired, very low on energy, but thankfully, I have no fever or dry cough. I'm focusing on drinking a lot of water, taking my immunity boosts, taking care of my mental health by writing and recording this podcast for you and saying positive affirmations, moving as much as I can between my calls and eating healthy. I go between feeling better and then feeling really tired. I have to also learn not to overdo when I'm feeling better. I'm not sure if I'm just one of the asymptomatic people out there or it's just overworking. my conditions are not typical COVID-19 conditions that qualify for testing right now. But I have spoken to a few of my friends over the period of last 2-3 weeks, and many of them are dealing with extreme fatigue too. It's overwhelming. This situation and what this pandemic is doing to us is overwhelming. The good thing is that the eWOW family is, members, they're checking on each other, supporting each other. We are also lucky that we are in California, where Governor Newsom acted fast and social distancing is actually helping contain the pandemic. Now, as I mentioned, today's podcast is straight from the heart. I'm sharing my experience in the hopes that you will share yours too. The COVID-19 pandemic is affecting each of us in different ways. But the more we share our experiences, the better we prepare ourselves and others to fight with COVID-19. So please let me know how you are all coping with the stress. How can the eWOW family help each other? How can I help? So I'm looking forward to emails from you. I'm looking forward to suggestions from you in terms of how eWOW as a family can help the community. I'm also going to share a link to the eWOW Virtual Summit where we have a session on self-care. The link is in the show notes, so make sure that you register yourself. Thank you for listening to this podcast and thank you for being who you are, the eWOW family. I look forward to seeing you again in our next podcast. Till then, keep empowering the world.